Aloha, beautiful pod, our beautiful human family on the planet. Just tapping in for a little love stream, a little evening drop in about some of the energies that you might be navigating, that might be filling you with love or anticipation or excitement or uncertainty or doubt or creative energy, all these incredible energies coming in, anxiety, unconscious anxiety, all those things that happen when the consciousness goes through a massive cosmic shift, which is what is happening. And so I just wanted to drop in and do a little love stream. There's such incredible downloads coming in to support us on our cosmic journey together as star beings on this magical planet we call Earth. And so it's so nice to see you all jumping on. If you think this love stream is going to be inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. And I'm sharing about a transmission that has been percolating and is coming through right now. I'm going to do a 3-night transmission starting Friday night at 10 p.m. All the notes are in the description box, but what I really want to talk about and the upcoming transmission is called Love, Sex, and Everything, because everything is on the table right now for humans. Energetically, the transformation that we are going through in our consciousness, in our psyche, in our physical bodies, in our external environment is so beyond quantum. It's beyond the mind and everything that we've known. And so we love to do these little drop-ins to support the fam, to just know that whatever we might be feeling inside of ourselves is perfectly fine and okay. And what some people might call a symptom, we call a sensation that is filled with information because these bio-oscillating crystalline structures called bodies are very communicative and they are intelligent in their form. And so we have this biofeedback loop called our body, which emanates sensations, which some call symptoms, and we can really learn to tune into that information to discover what the supra-intelligent consciousness flowing through our form is telling us, so that we can continually harmonize our physical bodies, harmonize everything in our life to stay aligned with cosmic shifts that are happening on the level of our planetary body. So I'm sure that a lot of those who are tuning in know what the Schumann resonance is. The Schumann resonance is the heartbeat of the Earth. The Earth has a heartbeat just like our bodies have a heart and a heartbeat, and it sends out a signal and a pulse. And so that Schumann resonance is taking all kinds of leaps and irregularities right now, because it's sending out these cosmic codes to inform all of the inhabitants that are made of this planetary body that there is transformation going on. And so we have the opportunity to align with that transformation and to understand it from the place of our mind, so that we can come into a state of balance, come into a state of relaxation and go, oh, I wish they would have taught us this in grade 1 and told us about this time that was coming so that we didn't have all of this underlying unconscious anxiety or whatever might be going on. And we're not saying that you have it, we're just saying in case you are feeling uncertainty in the sensations that are going through your body and the transformation in our lives going on. So the Love, Sex, and Everything transmission that's starting on Friday night, if you want to join it, click the link in the description box. And I've also put some links there as well if you want to join the mailing list and stuff. But back to the transmission. So the piece that we feel really has been coming through in the last few miracle days, and we're really inspired to share tonight, is that there's something called asexual reproduction, and we could call it immaculate conception as well. And so all of these codices are coming in to articulate a higher level of understanding of these physical bodies, these light ships, and how to drive them, how to steer them, how to turn them on, and to understand the transformation that's coming, because we are both the masculine and the feminine in our form. And we're going to talk more about that, share more about that in the transmissions and love, sex, and everything. But we just want to say that when we start to understand that this form has, we always ask, can you please send us a higher languaging, the masculine and feminine? The guidance said masculine is power, feminine is love. And so we can think about the power and the love that are flowing through these forms. And if one is in a race car and it's filled with power, and it's filled with a lot of love, because whoever drives the race car loves driving race cars, and whoever the team is with race car loves race car too. So there's a lot of power and love that is coming through our form. And our consciousness, when we have the understanding from the level of our brain and our mind to know what is happening, we're getting supercharged with all of this energy and information. And there is no one left behind. So, and if this love stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. So, one of the things, we've been given many systems to understand the personalities, the egos, the blueprints that we've been inside of. And one of those systems that was brought through by this really cool guy named Thru, who brought through a system called human design. And years ago, I heard an interview with him when he was still on the planetary body, many miracles ago. And he said that human design was being gifted to us so that when it was coming to the end of the show, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, we wouldn't kill each other in the process as our roles in the play, as our costumes, as our egos were coming off. And so Thru brought through this system called human design, and human design allows each one of us to understand the role that we've been playing in the play. We'll talk about this a little bit when we get into the sex, love, and everything, love, sex, and everything transmission that starts Friday night, 10 p.m. But we just want to touch into all of these things so that people can keep moving along in the process and feel empowered and informed. So as Thru said, human design gave us the opportunity to understand the blueprint that each one of us was inside of. It's like the metaphor would be everyone had been playing in a play that had been going on for way too long and forgot that they were a character in the play. So he went into the scripts and he started to pull through components that would bring an end to the sleepiness of forgetting that we were all playing roles in the play. And his sequencings that he was able to bring through, he brought it through in a very interesting way. But the sequencing that he brought through a kind of articulation and a kind of structure that just by looking at our designs, we would start to unlock our consciousness from our physical form, from bondage to the physical form. We're not saying physical form is bad. We're just saying when the consciousness doesn't remember that it's pure source consciousness and it does not have to be bound by gravity and time, then we are liberated by believing that there's any external structure or middleman between us and pure source consciousness, creation, creativity, and so on. And so the guidance is saying again, no one left behind. So, okay, so one of the things about human design that he showed us was how our blueprints fit together like puzzle pieces. And when we understand that part, we can start to come together in a place of tenderness and understanding, to understand how the blueprints activate each other and how each one of us is bringing through a different piece of consciousness. Some of us are more rooted in the body and physicality in the earth. Some of us are more cosmic. And so as those designs come together, when we understand how they work together, we can actually have a lot of fun together. We can relax back for those parts that in our human design that we're transforming from. Thru said we're going from 7-centered beings to 9-centered beings. And so as we come into that 9-centered consciousness where we are fully connected again, we are both rooted, we are both spiritual and physical. We are both physical and non-physical simultaneous. And so as we're moving through this great transformation of the opening of the human heart of 2022, if this love stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. As we are moving through this incredible heart opening of 2022, the most incredible thing is that this consciousness, this new consciousness, is birthing through all of us equal and simultaneous. And that's part of what is coming through the love, sex, and everything transmission that we start on Friday night. If you're interested, the notes are in the description box. But the point being is to understand, we've been speaking with people recently who are pregnant, who are coaches of pregnant people, who are coaches of conscious conception and all these things. And what the guidance is saying is that it's the miracle to level the playing field and not create this pyramidal thing where the baby is more important than the grandparent or than the parent themselves and all these things. The guidance is saying, like, the new consciousness is birthing itself through all of us, which levels this playing field for us to relate together as a human family in a completely new way. And again, this is all programmed in the genetics. It's programmed in the 37 gene. The 37 gene is about the rise of the family through the new consciousness. And what it shows is that the old collective consciousness was based on pyramidal, it inserted a pyramidal hierarchical structure inside of the family structure. And that is all collapsing inside of each one of us as this new consciousness births. And so the gifting frequency of that gene within all of our codons is called equality. And it's about this equal consciousness coming into us all. The feminine nature is returning to the planet through the masculine heart. And so the kundalini of all the masculine is rising up from the sacral chakra, where it has been held bound by a matrix that said sex sells. And so love, sex, and everything is going to touch on all these pieces to get a lot of epiphanies inside of ourselves to really master our consciousness inside of our physical form and the transformation that is going on. So as the kundalini of the masculine rises and opens the masculine heart, and we all have masculine and feminine within us, as we are rising up out of the physicality and the roles that we've been playing in masculine and feminine bodies, what is happening is the opening of the masculine heart. And so it can feel very physical for the masculine. It can feel very emotional. It can feel very uncomfortable. The masculine can feel very at dis-ease, in a sense of uneasiness, because this emotional energy, the heart is the largest magnetic oscillating structure of the body, or the magnetic field of the body. And so as we go through the opening of the heart, for the masculine, this can be a very new experience to be experiencing what the opening of the heart accesses, which is information. And we can say that it accesses a greater level of our emotional body. Our emotional body is our internal GPS, our internal guidance system. There's such a ringing in this ear right now. Wow, there's so much information coming in. Okay, again, so as the masculine heart, this massive electromagnetic field that has incredible capacities to alter physicality, to alter time and gravity and space, break the laws of two-strand DNA. So as this opens up within all of us, but it is programmed in the genetics that the feminine nature returns to the earth through the masculine heart. And so the masculine may be feeling all of these strange and interesting feelings and maybe not have the throat chakra open yet to be able to articulate. And what we're also going to bring through the transmission of love, sex, and everything is how currently the masculine and feminine fit together and work together as we go into intimate energies. And so the masculine is like an antenna, the feminine is a receiver, the feminine reports back what was antennaed in. And as we come into holistic beings where all of our energies are balanced within us, we can access all this information within, and simultaneously, as we come into a balanced energy inside of us, as people come together in intimate union, the experience of intimate union is about to go through a massively incredible shift. The guidance is saying, I was hearing the word erotic, but erotic in the sense of sensation. So we are about to begin to experience really profound transformation and shift in our intimate relations. There's a really important piece that came through today. Oh, yeah. So there's this really cool guy named Amit Goswami, and he was in the movie What the Bleep Do We Know? And years ago, I saw him do this talk at the World Congress on Quantum Medicine. And it was called the quantum physics, or the physics of lovemaking, quantum physics of lovemaking. And he showed that when the Kundalini is held in the lower three chakras, or beneath the solar plexus, when people engage intimately, it actually produces death chemistry in the body. When the Kundalini is risen up to the heart, and the heart fields, the electromagnetic heart fields are open, people meet in the cosmic energy, and this actually turns on the fountain of youth in the bodies. And he showed alchemically, he showed chemically, he showed biologically, he showed on all these different levels the truth. And so it's basically like he was saying, if it's happening and the Kundalini is down in the lower three, it's not love making at all. If it happens, if the Kundalini is risen up, we are making love through the heart, which ignites the genesis within our bodies that comes into perfect balance. And there's no such thing as healing anymore, because there's no such thing as dis-ease, which is a shadow frequency of the 57th gene. It's the shaman, is the one who can read and sense for the well-being of the whole tribe. And so we will share about some of this as well in the transmission called Love, Sex, and Everything. And we also mentioned the other miracle night that one of the things that we're going to touch on is like the transformation that has occurred in a lot of relationships over the last few miracle years, where people have come together in very deep, intimate, passionate relationships that have then blown apart. And so in order to heal our heart, to feel safe, to trust, to move forth into the new frequencies or the new essence of consciousness that is coming in, the mind always wants to resolve. Why this? Why that? And so that's part of the Love, Sex, and Everything transmission starting on Friday night as well. If this love stream right now is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. And so the 59th gene, it's all about our genetics. It's all programmed in our genes. And the 59th gene at the shadow frequency is called dishonesty. And it actually is connected to what people call sexual attraction. At the shadow frequency, opposites attract, and it has a purpose, because as the opposites come together intimately, which unifies the auras and all the body chemistries, that intimacy then sends people falling apart, going backwards. This is why the push-pull dynamics of relationships have been the way that they have. Because at the shadow frequency of engagement, the union, the coming together, is designed for one purpose: to blow the ego and the psyche apart. This is in the genes. And so fear attracts people energetically, sexually at the shadow frequency. It's fear that brings people together and to blow the psyche apart. And that's what fear does when we go into deep enough fear, because opening up to people intimately brings up vulnerability. It starts to open the heart, and as the heart starts to open, then all that stuff comes up that was there before, that was unresolved. or unhealed, and it comes up to be examined, to be contemplated, to be received and perceived, and to be forgiven. And forgiven doesn't mean I'm sorry, I'm sorry I messed you up, or you should be sorry I messed you up. That's not what forgiveness is at all. At the highest frequency, aloha, lumina. And if this love stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting, so we can assist our human family to understand these things. So as the vulnerability begins to open us up, it's actually opening up the heart, because the heart heals everything. From a mechanical place, when the heart is shut down, then the body goes into constriction, and constriction causes disease. And so as the heart starts to open, because it accesses cosmic energy, then the cosmic energy comes in and heals everything at the level of density, of our carbon-based bodies. And so as we open up the heart, as we begin to understand these principles and the dynamics of how they work, again, if we were taught this in grade 1, we would know how these light ships operate, and we would understand our relations with each other together. And this is the most magnificent and beautiful part, is that relationships are going through a huge transformation. And as the shadow frequency of the psyche is dissolved, is blown apart, because it's bombarded by so much fear, it finally just releases. That allows the psyche or the ego to finally just give up. And when it does, we are able to invoke a higher energy to come into us. It's called grace. It's in the 22nd gene. And as grace comes in, it begins to unlock us. It's an involution. We rise our kundalini up to meet grace halfway. So it's an evolution, which is us rising the energy up, and an involution, which is grace coming down to meet it. And when they meet halfway in this area of the high heart, our bodies begin to open up, and our supernatural capacities, moving in and out of time and space at will, levitation, teleportation, all the cosmic, all those supernatural spidey gifts that all the yogis showed us are real and have opened up. Think golden apple, produce golden apple in the palm of the hand. It all starts to unlock. So Love, Sex, and Everything starts Friday night, 10 p.m. Pacific. It's just going to be an audio transmission. And this is just touching on some of the things that are in it. And once again, to just say that this consciousness, we call it Sophia. It's the living library. It's the true organic matrix that makes everything up. The matrix was an overlay. The matrix is the original fabric of. And so as the middleman, the matrix, the illusion continues to dissolve from being in between us and our source consciousness, which is also what fear does. Fear has us go deeply within, so we can begin to invoke a higher power to open us up, to help us, to support us. And so, pain and fear and all those things bring a state of humility to the ego, and then that allows our higher mechanics to open up. So there's a greater plan going on here. And so this consciousness is birthing through all of us, and Love, Sex, and Everything is going to share about, in the space between the words and in the words, the consciousness that is coming through us, so we can become really familiar and intimate with it, to understand that it is benevolent. It's a benevolent consciousness that is taking over the planetary body and the human body, and all of it simultaneously. So it's like new birth is occurring through all of us. So if you love this love stream and it was inspiring, please share it, because that's called gifting. If you want to join the Love, Sex, and Everything transmission, which is going to open up a huge body of consciousness that is to come. One final thing to share is we just went through the 60th gene. The sun went through the 60th gene. Simple containers allow magic to flow. rigid containers crack because they strangle magic. They strangle cosmic energy from flowing, which is why all the rigid structures on the planet and in consciousness and in family structures and borders and boundaries and all that crap are dissolving. So the sun went through the 60th gene last week. Simple containers allow magic to flow. So we created simple containers. This week we're in the initiator codon. The sun is traveling through the initiator codon, which is 41st gene. And it's connected to the oracle gene, and the oracle is the alpha gene. What the alpha says goes, because it's not coming from a human person. It's coming from the divine. It's the divine plan directly coming through the body of a person who has the oracular nature, and it's for the benefit of the all, the collective. So right now the initiator gene is the one that activates all of the protons or all the proteins in our bodies that set forth what we are creating in our creations to come. What is super cool about that is then the sun moves into the 5th gene, which is the library of light, the living library. And so what I'm saying, this miracle coordinate is right now is put things in place that you love and that you want to be part of your creation. Just journal them or vision them or speak them or focus on them or dream about them, sit under an apple tree and imagine them, stare at the sun, whatever. Just allow your imagination and your consciousness to really enjoy this time for play and creativity of what it is that your guidance says you're here to bring in, because we're all here to bring in a puzzle piece. And so we say this time is kind of like if we were arriving at the cosmic library. This miraculous coordinate would be when we were doing the sign-in papers to say which parts of the library we are asking for access to. And we are asking for access to the entire thing, the entire sophionic harmonic where the wave and the particle converge, the fabric of the matrix, of the organic covenant that creates all life, no middleman. So we have filled out our cosmic request for access to the entire library of light. So whatever we're creating right now, we are literally saying, I would like access to this part of the library and this part of the library, because when the sun, like a clock, moves into the 5th gene, which is the library of light, and has to do with all the kundalini coiled at the base of the spine and unlocking it and opening it up. So right this miracle week, the sun remains in the 41st gene until Thursday. And so choose consciously, participate consciously by really being still within, being coherent within, and invoking the universe to show you which parts of the library you're inviting, you're choosing access to go in, because then the sun opens up that library inside of us, and like a Rolodex, all this incredible creative energy and information comes in. Einstein said the problem cannot be resolved at the level of consciousness that created it. And so what is happening is we're like going forward to the library desk to say, we would like access to these parts of the library that are beyond the current state that we are in. And this is how powerful we are. As we say, if we were taught all of this in grade 1, we would know how to do this. So we're doing some catch up right now, which is just what these transmissions are about. So love, sex, and everything transmission starts Friday night at 10 p.m. It's an audio transmission. It's an oracular transmission. It's 3 transmissions. If you want to join, all the notes are in the description box. And I also put a link if you want to join my mailing list. And what else did I put in there? I should really put some of the links from some of the most recent love streams in there too, and meditations that we put on our Spreaker. If you go to Spreaker, Unity Transmissions, there's some new great meditations on there. And check out my other love streams on Facebook or Unity Transmissions on YouTube. And if you go there and give a little like, that'd be cool, or subscribe, that'd be cool too. The Love, Sex, and Everything transmission is going to assist those who participate to put together some really big parts. It's like a puzzle. You know, maybe you got puzzle pieces, a puzzle sitting out on a table for months, and you put a few pieces together one day and a few pieces the next. And then one day you walk up to that puzzle and you go like, oh my gosh, I can see all of these parts that come together super fast. And that's what these transmissions that we share do. They allow for epiphanies. They allow for beyond quantum, we call them cosmic leaps in the consciousness. So a lot of the puzzle pieces of one's life or past life before the December 4 solar eclipse that we had in 2021 just recently, which was a huge it's like it wiped the hard drive clean. And it leaves people feeling foggy in their head and all kinds of things, because it's really wiped out what we call the lesser Akash, the roles that we were all playing in an old place. Like the stage went down, the play went down, the contracts were done. And so Love, Sex, and Everything will help those who participate to put together a lot of puzzle pieces, a lot of parts to have epiphanies. And when we have epiphanies and the puzzle is done, we open to a whole new level of consciousness and now have the capacity to receive the information coming in, to be able to translate the cosmic information coming in, so that we can translate it in such a way that we can put it into inspired action to bring a new creation, new world in. And it's coming in the blink of an eye. If you've ever seen that scene in the Celestine prophecies, when they collectively raise their vibration, they're running from the military, and suddenly the whole new creation opens up before their eyes, because they remembered how to do the alchemy in their body by tuning in. That's what's coming. We love you so much. Thank you everyone for joining this little love stream. And if it was inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. And if you want to join Love, Sex, and Everything, details are down there. If you want to join the mailing list, click that link and have a magnificent day or night. Just have a magnificent miracle. We say time doesn't exist. And so have a magnificent miracle and a magnificent blessing to every single one. Oh, yeah. And Sundays at sunset, come join the Venice Electric Light Parade and have fun. Mwah! Aloha.